Okay, we're ready.
Alright guys, we're going to be doing basically a discussion video, our second discussion on the Star Wars trailer. So what we're going to do is we're going to play you clips, kind of pause in the middle, and get on discussions about them. And in the background we'll have Force Unleashed, Jedi Knight. So basically it takes 12 hours for this thing to start up.
There has been an awakening.
Start off, we can hear the new villain. I'm going to turn this down a little bit for you guys. And then right off the bat, you can see we have a maskless stormtrooper. I don't think that happened in the original trilogy at all. So that is kind of but clearly the Empire still has volunteer soldiers, unless the stormtroopers are now for
the rebels.
The rebels, or not really the rebels, the Republic again, as it probably revert back to the Republic. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have the big volunteer army. So either these are hired hitmen, or the stormtroopers kind of reverted to the police force of the Republic.
The character we're seeing there has also been confirmed to be the main character of the movie. Yeah.
And then basically a few seconds later, we get some footage of the soccer ball droid. Not really a ton to talk about there, I don't think. Kind of a cool looking droid, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see how much the droids are changed. Obviously it's 30 years later, so technology has advanced, but we'll see how many droids look like that. I think it would be a little cheesy unless it's kind of just like a mouse droid or something, because like how all the R2s look, it'd be borderline straight up stupid as fuck. Also, the other thing is, like, I don't think they should advance the R2s, like, so much and shit, because they're like, oh, this is 30 years later, but, like, when you look at 30 years before the actual episode 4, 5, and 6, the technology was basically the same. It just looked different. Like, the R2 droids and shit were all the same, so changing them up too much would look weird, comparatively.
That droid that looks like C-3PO.
That's basically, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Basically, well, I mean, C-3PO was made then. And then we go on, you just saw the Stormtrooper clip. The thing about the Stormtrooper clip that bothers me, really, there's a few parts about it that does. First off, like I said a second ago, those Stormtroopers basically have to be Republic unless somehow the Empire still reigns supreme, which really doesn't make sense. The Stormtroopers have updated armor, again trying to show that it's been 30 years, but realistically, if the Empire is out of power, they probably couldn't afford to re-outfit all their Stormtroopers with new outfits, which means either the Empire is still in power, or the Stormtroopers are rebels, or the movie's fucking stupid as hell. Because realistically, they wouldn't have that update. The other thing that bothers me right off the bat is how the weapons have like the red Iron Man armor dot on it, basically. Like that, it's kind of nitpicky, but I mean, like that's not really how Star Wars ever looked. I mean, their guns were always pretty matte. Like it shouldn't bother me that much, but it just looks like they're taking too much out of like Iron Man's book and stuff with the Stormtrooper armor. Then you can already tell to this point, basically the cinematography is way different. Just how it's designed, a lot of the shots of those more close up. I don't know.
And again, we can see a lot of CGI.
Moving on, you can see the you just saw the girl on her speeder bike mixed with the thing that Luke used, the sand speeder in episode 4. Kind of a weird design, like kind of a downgrade, I would say, looking compared to like episode 4 and episode 6's designs, but I don't know.
We have what appears to be early CGI as well. In both scenes, CGI backgrounds seem to be making a return from the prequels. Yeah.
Well, the prequels actually, especially I think episode 2 had the most practical. Oh shit. Had the most practical effects out of all the movies. Holy shit! Out of all the prequels, episode 2 had the most practical effects on the scene and stuff. But apparently, I heard in like one of the special features that basically You know?
Yeah.
I heard in a special feature that one of the actors said he didn't work on a single set where he didn't have at least a little green screen, so. But I mean, you can't really expect them not to do CGI. Like, saying not doing CGI is a retarded double standard, as everything uses CGI now. Especially something as big budget as Star Wars. Maybe rely a little less on CGI. Especially because a lot of the original movie, what made it great was how innovative it was without CGI. But, alright, moving on. We have an X-Wing scene. Again, actually, it's some early CGI, but it's actually not terrible in the X-Wing scene. But again, this is where we're starting to see a lot of like the more J.J. Abrams Star Trek, like those look especially like they're pulled out of Star Trek. And you go on to see this part where
what appears to be the main villain,
the main villain with the, or at least the, like the Darth Maul or Count Dooku of this movie. If you know what I mean, like the Sith Padawan or whatever.
He has a new lightsaber,
which is the three-sided lightsaber.
It has a crossguard on it. The looking closely at the crossguard, it's quite impractical. The crossguard wouldn't really serve much of a purpose other than to
look edgy,
limit your movement and glance an opponent's lightsaber into your hilt and cut your lightsaber in half. As well as that, you can see that the lightsaber has quite a bit of a different look. It has more of a
it has more of like
blowtorch look than
the old lightsaber look, where it was basically just a line and then a thing in it. So I don't know. And then again, the villain from the back doesn't look that bad, and obviously a lot of the Sith had their trademark lightsabers, like Count Dooku's bent hilt, dual-sided Darth Maul, and stuff around those lines, but I mean, that's just impractical and edgy. But I do have a theory that it's more kind of like, what are those type of swords that King Arthur and shit had?
Like a broadsword?
Yeah, like, it, because you look at it, and it kind of looks like it's supposed to be more of a broadsword.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, that could be kind of cool if he uses more, like, power-based attacks than, like, the jump around attacks, if they're going for more of like a knightish deal than like a Jedi ninja. Because especially, I think the choreographed fights sort of made sense in episode 1, because Darth Maul was basically supposed to be a ninja, but by the time like Count Dooku was doing it, it's like you're 180 years old. But so it'll be interesting to see if they're actually gonna change up the fight style, or if this is still gonna be bounce around type shit. But other than that, the scene basically looks like it was like they basically just dropped their new villain Harry Potter set, but whatever. The lightsaber also sounds a little screechier. Then we see the Millennium Falcon. Basically, you look at this part and you're just like, is that the Enterprise from Star Trek?
Clearly, the Millennium Falcon was just thrown in to the trailer
but
to kind of appeal to. I guess
people old things, but I don't know. It looks a lot like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Basically, J.J. admitted that he just wanted to do Star Wars, basically, when he did Star Trek. So I don't know.
It's also worth noting that in the Millennium Falcon scene, you see 2 TIE fighters, which implies that there's some kind of Imperial force.
Well, yeah, because he's fighting and they shoot at him, so that either means that there's Imperial like fighters left that people are using, or the stormtroopers are on the bad side. So what we can basically tell from this trailer, this breakdown, is that the Imperial people still have power. Actually, it's kind of hard to say. Like, they probably have the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers and TIE fighters kind of are set there. So the stormtroopers are still Empire. So it's hard to say if the Empire's a power or not, though, because the Sith guy, basically, he seems pretty underground within that movie. So I don't know how much power they're going to have or how they're going to explain that, but it's going to be interesting to see. But again, like you can see in like the laser effects and like even the back effect looks a lot like the Enterprise in Star Trek movies. So it's gonna be interesting to see, especially like the light speed scenes, how those look. But I don't know. It just doesn't look a ton like the Star Wars movies we've seen in the past. And it goes on to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I wonder if they're actually gonna try and call it The Force Awakens.
That is the official title.
Yeah, I know it is the official title, but I was wondering if they're actually gonna have to call it Star Wars 7: The Force Awakens, or what they're gonna do there. I know fans are gonna call it Star Wars 7, but I'm just gonna be interesting to see that they never at any point put Star Wars 7, which I don't know if that's to make it less daunting and have the side names come out or something, or what they're doing there. But it's just Star Wars: The Force Awakens, no 7. And then obviously the December 2015. So that was our general thoughts as we watched it. What are your overall thoughts on your place?
In general, I find it hard to be impressed. From what little we've seen, the movie just doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, as well as having some odd moments like the crossguard on the lightsaber. As for the plot, I think it's a little early to comment on it because we honestly don't know enough to make a proper judgment. I'm hoping that we see more practical effects than we do CGI.
No. I don't think that's likely. It's not something we can really knock the movie for if they don't do. That would be cool and preferable. But I won't knock them for not doing that because that's an unfair double standard. There's not a single movie, like it or not, that doesn't use mostly CGI as an action movie.
I know, but
it would be fun, and I think it would be a good tribute. I hope they do a lot of practical effects, but the likeliness we're going to see any sort of.
I guess what I'm really hoping is that we have any practical effects whatsoever, as well as less CGI sets than the prequels had. The prequels had kind of an artificial feel to the whole thing because almost every set in the whole prequel trilogy was just pure CGI.
From what we've seen, this is pure CGI. You look at the prequel movies, and actually they have a decent amount of actual practical effects on their within set. But the thing is, on the same note, it's usually a practical set built with a green screen instead of a background. Yeah. But this, I'm scared we're going to see very little in the way of practical effects. And I feel the prequels obviously don't hold a finger to the original movie, but I'm a tad worried that they're going to just try and brush the prequels off altogether. And just kind of go, those didn't happen because we love Star Wars. Watch it, it's like the original. And it kind of worries me, if they're, I know they're going to stay true to the but I hope they stay, I don't know, more in that realm. The other thing I really want to comment on a lot is just how the movie is shot. It's obviously JJ's style, and that's fine to an extent. But when you're dealing with something as big as Star Wars, I don't think it's fair to the fans of the series to really just not really use the same style as the prequels or as the originals. The prequels did a great job of making the movies look like they were in the same universe. Obviously, a lot of the effects were different, but the lightsabers, they look the same. The laser beams, they look the same, despite the differences within how it was actually implemented. Despite that, we always had generally the same feel and look, and that was something I really commend the prequels on. Is that they stayed true to the look, and all the bad things, there were also good things that came with the prequels, especially those things. If this doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, even if it's better than the prequels, I think people will still be disappointed with it a little bit.
Lost my train of thought. I think another thing to note is that if you compare The Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit, what you see, The Hobbit is almost entirely CGI sets, and even with an advance in CGI, it just looks miles worse than The Lord of the Rings did with on-set locations or on-location shooting where they did a lot of it in real locations. And I know they were doing some filming out in the desert, like the desert you see. At least parts of it were filmed on location. I don't remember what desert, but there were pictures of the cast.
There was the. Oh, sure. Film like a cameo in Star Wars. Like my biggest fear when J.J. Abrams did Star Trek, he wanted to do Star Wars. It's basically confirmed. Well, now that he is doing Star Wars, it looks the same as a Star Trek. I'm scared that what we're gonna see is too much like his Star Trek movie. If he's not bringing anything new to the table, then it's like, yo, JJ, you just remade your Star Trek film. And granted, they're okay films, but they're action movies. They're not Star Trek.
Even
there's not much exploration to them. You can't really count on Star Trek. And I'm not gonna call them like some of the worst Star Trek movies and stuff. There are a lot of good Star Trek movies. There's a lot of good ones too, but they're fun-ish movies. But if we see the same thing as on Star Trek, you get to a point where it's like, what distinguishes this from his Star Trek movies? Like, what does he bring to the table? Like, despite it, because I assumed he basically, a lot of people, I don't know if he said it in an interview or not, if he always wanted to make a Star Wars movie, but I don't remember where I heard it, but it was something like he always wanted to make a Star Wars movie, so a lot of his Star Trek stuff is based on that.
But his Star Trek stuff.
But his Star Trek stuff is very Star Wars implemented. But now that he actually has Star Wars in his hands, if he does the same things, fans of both series are going to be disappointed. Because it's like, hey, even if you like the movie, it's like Star Wars fans are going to be offended. Like, you just did this for Star Trek, now you're doing the same thing for Star Wars. Or vice versa. Like, I'm scared he's just going to make a new J.J. Abrams Star Trek. Because I don't count.
It's hard to say.
Well, they're less travel. Like, I'm not really a huge Star Trek fan by any means, but I know a lot of people are kind of like those aren't very Star Trek. I've seen a little bit of Star Trek, but like by no means am I the expert. So if you enjoy it and you're a Star Trek fan, that's fine. But from what I can basically tell is he based those a lot more on Star Wars. That's what he wanted to do, but I don't know. If he just takes the same style, I don't feel like it's going to be an original movie. And I think the Star Trek movies are okay as their own entity, but as a Star Trek movie, they're not great.
I think another big thing is that his Star Trek movies, no matter what you think, if you're a fan or not, the movies they're good, but they're nothing great and nothing really special. And if Star Wars got the same treatment, it's like you're taking the original trilogy, you're trying to make something comparable to the original trilogy, but if it's good, great, a lot of people are going to be let down as well.
Here's the pressure too, and here's a big reason I don't think there should ever be episodes past the 6 we have. Obviously, we had like the Ewoks and shit, but I mean, out of main Star Wars movies, and I'm fine with there being like the Clone Wars movies. If those are shit, it's like, okay, you made something based on Star Wars. But now that you have Star Wars Episode 7 out there, your two options are make it comparable to the prequels, and basically, like, if this movie isn't enjoyed by fans, Disney made a real bad investment. Because if fans are pissed off, like, this was the shittiest thing I ever seen, fans aren't going to want to watch more of their Star Wars movies. They're just going to get wrecked. So you basically have to start it off good. And I'm sure he's going to put more care into Star Wars than he is Star Trek. Because honestly, I'm not even sure JJ's a huge fan of Star Trek. Because basically he wanted to do Star Wars. So I'm scared he's going to be trying either too hard to make it his own thing, or too hard making it his Star Trek, the thing he wants. I'm scared Disney's going to give him too much power. I don't know what fully I think of the series right now, or of the movie. Obviously, it's too early to tell a lot of things, but I mean, there's a lot of hypotheticals that it could go wrong. And at this point, it's impossible to say if it'll be good or bad. But just from the cinematography alone, I'm worried. And obviously, a 3-sided lightsaber hilt isn't a big deal. But I'm just saying, you're really playing with fire if you are with the Star Wars franchise. If you fuck this up, Disney's in a lot of shit. I don't know. So, do I think J.J. Abrams could do a good job? It's still out there, but from what we've seen so far, I'm scared he's going to do too much trying to inspire it based on too much inspiration from his Star Trek movies and not Star Wars enough, or nothing that original to the table. But that's basically my final thoughts. Is the trailer, I think it was a cool trailer, but it worries me. So, what are your final thoughts?
A big thing that I'm kind of worried about is just looking at the things that JJ has made in the past. I mean, his director credits basically boil down to both the Star Trek movies and Super 8, none of which are spectacular, but he also wrote the screenplay for Episode 7, and the only notable screenplay he's written besides that is Armageddon, which, whether or not you can get past the acting and all the other problems and the scientific inaccuracies, the writing, especially the dialogue writing, is...
You gotta be fair.
It's not 100% there. And I know that was 15 years ago.
First off, it was 15 years ago, so as a person, he probably evolved. Like, a lot of people, like Ben Affleck, I still don't love him as an actor, but he's definitely matured even from, like, his Daredevil days a lot. Like, you compare his Daredevil days to his current stuff is just great, but like, so I can't really hold that against him too much. And on top of that, he was a screenplay writer. He didn't have anything to do with dialogue. He probably had general plots down, but if dialogue's choppy, that's basically other people that work on that. As a screenplay, you're big bananas, you know? You're not writing down and dirty. But, I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's doomed just based on that alone. But, I mean, that is a true mark against him. Armageddon was not a great movie.
I think we're going to have a lot more to talk about come the next trailer. And I don't suspect they'll keep us waiting for too long. Maybe we'll see the next one January or early February.
Well, I don't know, because we're not getting the movie till December. I don't know how much they're going to tease the movie. Because, like, initially, I was surprised. I wasn't 100% sure when the movie was coming out. I was pretty sure it was, like, late next year. But I was basically I wasn't paying too much attention, basically. I don't know if they actually announced the date until recently. So, but basically, we still have a year. So the CGI, I'm not worried about. The movie, it's hard to judge, and this is a teaser trailer. So the other thing about teaser trailers, like, we have the Avengers 3 teaser trailer before we've even seen Avengers 2. So a teaser trailer, we're probably not going to see another Thanos trailer, the actual Thanos trailer. I would guess we're not going to see it until we're probably not going to see another trailer till, like, at best late 2015. Like I'm talking like Star Wars episode 7 is when we're gonna see the next Thanos trailer. So it is
forced then.
So it's pretty hard to say right now. Oh, am I supposed to pull him, maybe?
Mind trick.
Oh, yeah. But it's hard to say right now because we could see a lot of changes in the future. Like I said, it's impossible to say for right now. Do I think it will be a good movie? Hard to say. Do I think it's doomed from the one trailer? I don't think it's doomed. I don't think it's confirmed to be good. Obviously, it's a teaser trailer. But we just figured you'd be interested to hear what we thought for a few seconds. My basic plot idea, especially with it being called Force Awakens, I assume basically what's going to happen is we're going to start seeing more Jedis pop up and more Sith pop up. And I think the Sith are basically all but dead, so it's going to be interesting to see what the Stormtroopers are up to. But basically, it's hard to say anything about the plot right now. It's going to be fun just to see what's up, basically, and we'll probably keep you guys informed. Next time we see another trailer, we'll probably do another discussion video on it. But for now, I don't think I have anything else to say. Do you?
I think I'm good.
Alright, so that was our analysis, talk about discussion of that. So that was discussion episode 2. Stay tuned, we've got a lot more planned. We'll do these generally once in a while. Hopefully we get Street Fighter out tonight or tomorrow or sometime.
Definitely. Street Fighter should be soon.
Alright, so thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.